Hi, everybody. It's Julia, your trusted travel expert, helping you find that je ne sais quoi wherever you are in the world. And I am in a place where the je ne sais quoi is sort of everywhere. And I wanted to talk to you this week about getting off the beaten path. And what I mean by that is, everybody wants to come and see Paris, obviously. I get that. And there's so much to do, and it's can be very overwhelming to decide how you're going to divide up your time and what you're going to do. And I know that there are a lot of day trips that are offered from Paris, and I've talked about which ones I think are good and which ones I think are not good. And one of them that I don't like is doing a day trip to the Loire Valley. And it's because that's where I am. I'm in the Loire Valley, and this property itself is spectacular and special. And I'll get to this property in a second. But I want to just tell you that the Loire Valley is such a huge, vast, and fascinating area, and it's also gorgeous. It's super bucolic. It's a huge wine region. There are sort of 3 or 4 different sub wine regions within the Loire Valley, and it's not really a wine region that I have given its fair shake before, but it has its own grape varietal and their own styles and everything like that. They have some 40, 70 odd, I don't know, chateau dotted around, quite a few royal chateaux where the kings and queens of France lived in the sort of 15th, 16th, 17th century before Louis moved everything to Versailles. They would do progresses or go from chateau to chateau. And so there's quite a few beautiful historical architecture examples around here. There is also great food around here, canoeing, kayaking, hiking, horseback riding. You can tell there's so much to do out here. So when you try and cram a day trip to the Loire Valley in 12 hours or 14 hours, you're going to basically see it from the side of a bus or your car, run through a couple chateaux, and voila, you're done. And that's really giving it a short shift. So we had 8 nights for this particular trip, and we decided to split it up. So we did 2 in the beginning at Paris, 3 in the countryside, and then the last 3 nights in Paris. Again, you can easily do 5 nights in Paris at the beginning and then end 3 nights in the countryside, or change that around a little bit how you so feel. Maybe you want to start off your vacation with a nice relaxing stay to kind of ease into the jet lag rather than jumping into all the sights in the city. I usually sort of do the opposite, but the point is when you allow yourself a couple nights in a place like this, you really get to relax. You really get to get into the flow of life here, get used to the slow meals, the peace and quiet of the countryside, and get to know a different side of France. There's that saying that if you've only been to Paris, you haven't been to France. And if you've only seen Paris, you haven't seen France, because they really are very different, the countryside from basically everywhere else besides Paris in France. It's very, very different. And so the place that we're staying for these 3 nights is called Les Sources de Cheverny, and it is right near the Cheverny Chateau, which is one of the smaller, sort of lesser known chateaus, but it's incredibly charming, and they have a wonderful, usually not during COVID times, they have a wonderful demonstration of how they feed their hunting dogs. And it is really a charming place, and it's just 10 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes by bike down the road from this place. But so Les Sources de Cheverny is the second property, I believe, from the same team that put together Les Sources de Caudalie, which is another wonderful, similarly styled resort out in the countryside of Bordeaux, outside of Bordeaux city, in the wines on the Médoc side of the city. And that is also a wonderful resort. And these are sort of rustic, chic, luxury spa resorts, wellness resorts. So the food is spectacular. There's a wonderful wine program here. The spa is one of the best spa experiences I've ever had. There are bikes on property. Someone was riding one of the horses that's in the paddocks over here. And as you can just tell, it's incredibly peaceful and incredibly lovely. And they do have a little mini chateau. The buildings like behind me. So these buildings are reclaimed wood, new builds, but then like that's an old outbuilding of some sort for the chateau, and so they've restored it and put rooms in some of those buildings, like the cook's house and things like that. And they have a wonderful restaurant. They are going to have 2 restaurants on site, sort of a more casual versus a fine dining Michelin starred place. And then inside the chateau, there are all these cute public rooms on the main floor. They're all public rooms with a snooker table, an antique looking foosball table, games, records, an honesty bar, really cool area. But then on the other side of the old chateau, they have a new spa. And it is, like I said, one of the best I've ever had. So, staying at a place like this, we've had some rain this morning. The sun's sort of trying to come out. So I think we're going to actually leave the property. But we have just found so much to do on property. It's been worth the 3 nights and worth it to get away from Paris. So I just wanted to give a sort of plug to not only Les Sources de Cheverny, which is a wonderful resort, but also to going off the beaten path and giving yourself some time to explore sort of a different part of the destination you're seeing. So that's it for this week. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.